Hello everyone, Mr. Happy here with very early patch note reading over on Twitch that I'm going to be uploading to YouTube. My normal volume for this time. I've got a girlfriend and a cat that I'd like to keep living with, so this is the version of Mr. Happy that you get around this time of the morning. We're going to read the patch 5.35 patch notes since I've got nothing else to do while I wait for the servers to go live in just over an hour from the recording of this video. Now, just going to be a quick reading, quick reaction. I actually haven't gone through these. Sometimes I go through these before the recording. Didn't do that today. And I gotta say, his face is already giving me some smiles. Obviously, the big thing for this patch, if you're not looking for housing, which is going to be #1 for a lot of people here when they're waking up bright and early, is the Save the Queen Blades of Gunhilder series, which is going to be our new Botching Southern Front field content, as well as the Resistance Weapon questline, which you'll have a couple of options on how you want to enhance that actual weapon. This is going to be unlocked at Marsak in Gangos, so made sure I logged out there. It worked out great. Need to have Vows of Virtue, Deeds of Cruelty, and completed the quest The Boss Incident and Fire in the Forge. Basically, the patch 5.25 Resistant Weapon quest line, as well as the first weapon that you can actually do from that. Rest of these are all going to be question marks, as you can see, and there's actually more than I thought there'd be. Wow. And then it goes right into the Resistance Weapon questline, a sober proposal, where Eagle's Nest needs to be completed in order to continue that, and then there's just a few quests in here, of course, from our good old boy Geralt, who has been dealing with far too much over the year. No, Rowena, no, I'm not doing Skysteel tools. These are the crafting and gathering relics, basically, for the Skysteel tools, and I see her, and I go the other way, because I've had enough nightmares with Rowena in terms of working on any sort of tool or weapon of any kind, fashioned from any manner. So those are just going to be quests for that. This is from the first Skysteel tool quest line, and then there's going to be a few quests after that. New Game Plus finally has A Realm Reborn. I played through A Realm Reborn's revamp, and the speed was very much increased. However, if you're just looking to play through for the story and not as a brand new character, that is finally in New Game Plus. Specifically, A Realm Reborn parts 1 through 6. I assume part 1 is all of the base A Realm Reborn, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 are all patches 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, 2.4, and 2.5. Realm Reborn part 1 does not include tutorials. Thank goodness for that. And the requirements for New Game Plus have been adjusted. Oh, you need to have done, yeah, because A Realm Reborn's in there now. Now you can start doing New Game Plus as soon as you finish the Ultimate Weapon questline. Housing. Good luck. Good luck to anyone who's doing that. It's 3 wards and 3 subdivisions in each of the new areas on every server. Good luck. Some new furnishings as well. That's actually pretty dope. I like that. I like that right there. That's from the Furnishing Design Contest. That's dope. I like that. There's also some new furnishings and orchestrions that have been added to the game. Naturally so. New cards for Triple Triad and new NPCs. This is pretty normal. So if you're still in the collection game for Triple Triad, then you have a few new things to grab for this patch. New emote, just he looks so disappointed. As somebody who does that motion a lot, he looks so disappointed in whatever he's looking at. So new hairstyles being added as well. So enjoy that. I'm not going to lie. I don't even have the Esthetician unlocked on my main. I'm a Lalafell. I don't need the Esthetician. Come on now. Botching Southern Front as well. This is the front we were talking about earlier. You need to be at least level 71 in order to enter. 72 players can enter a single instance. And it is actually going to be a leveling method. I'm actually going to be doing a video. I have a job and a character specifically at level 71 in order to test what the speed is going to be like. So I'll be posting something for that later this week. The instance also has 3 hours on it, about what I expected. It's the same as Eureka. Eureka was a 3-hour instance as well. And then this is the same requirements that we saw earlier. So you have to enter from Seros at Gangos. That's what I expected. So I'm going to be in Gangos a lot this patch. Botching Southern Front allows you to use party functions such as inviting party members. This is the same as Eureka. Level sync. Everybody in the Botching Southern Front will be level synced to 80 and equipment adjusted to item level 430. So if you enter as level 71, you will be level 80 the whole time. You can gain experience points in there. It will be a new method of leveling up any jobs that you didn't actually get level to 80 before this patch, which is something I'm very much looking forward to seeing how that is going to be working. Materia bonus will be ignored regardless of the item level of gear fixed with materia. They told us about this during the last live letter. They said that regardless of your item level of your gear is going to be ignored. Your character's just going to be synced to item level 430 regardless of what it is you're actually wearing. So don't even try like wearing item level 430 stuff to get extra materia slots. It's not going to matter inside of the Botching front. Players who have yet to reach level 80 will get or earn experience points. Perfect. You can change between Disciples of War or Magic while you're inside, just not while in combat or in a critical engagement. You can also ride mounts inside there as well. And unlike Eureka, you don't have to earn the right to mount up. You'll be able to do it right from the get-go. Well, mind you, they changed mounting in Eureka ages ago, so you actually can mount in Eureka pretty immediately at this point. I think you can still do it immediately. Maybe they made it earlier in Onimos, but I know in all the other zones you can do it right from the get-go now. Enemies will appear in the Botching southern front. They'll have an icon next to their name denoting their strength. The larger the number of this icon, the more powerful the enemy. Especially dangerous enemies will bear a unique icon with no number. By participating in battles on the southern front, players earn metal. After earning sufficient metal, players can speak with the resistance commander to increase their rank. So basically, you can constantly collect metal, and then whenever you have time to go back to the resistance commander to level up, then you can. Resistance rank is a representation of your reputation with the Botching southern front. As your rank increases, the resistance front line will advance, allowing you to explore new areas on the front. So the front will gradually get bigger as your resistance rank goes up, pretty much. But it doesn't seem to be equal to an actual level of power like it was in Eureka with elemental level. It just seems to be something that gradually unlocks more features for players that are actually inside of the zone. So you can see this right here, resistance rank, how much metal you have, how much you need to your next rank, and then clusters, which is your weight, which will, I believe, go into your lost actions, which they're going to describe below. After reaching resistance rank 5, players will begin to lose metal upon being incapacitated or KO'd. Players will also lose metal if they return to the encampment or leave the instance. So you can lose metal in 2 different ways, but unfortunately you can't D-rank. You can only lose metal that's unspent towards your resistance rank. So definitely be wary of that, but the good news is you can't D-rank at any point. Players must assist the soldiers of Botching in participating in skirmishes and critical engagements. Those will give you metal, tomestones, and experience points. That's going to be your main way of leveling if you are doing those 71 to 80 jobs. Skirmishes appear on the map very similar to a Fate. Most skirmishes are commenced randomly, with some being triggered by defeating certain enemies. Critical engagements, on the other hand, are triggered by defeating certain enemies or victories in skirmishes, allowing for a limited number of combatants. So those are going to be the big thing people are going to be working towards. In the zone itself, there's going to be 24, 48, and even 1 versus 1 critical engagements based on your performance inside of those 24 and 48 critical engagements as well. You do not need to be present on the field to participate. You can use must request deployment via the resistance recruitment window. So bear that in mind. You can see that at the bottom right there. Joining critical engagements once battle has commenced. Critical engagements will appear in the resistance recruitment window. That is going to be the actual queue in. And it'll have a list of the different ones that are currently taking place and the number of people that are actually available inside of said critical engagement. If it reaches the maximum number of participants queuing up, then it will start selecting players to join it at random. However, you can gain guaranteed access to these by being members of the groups that actually go out of their way to spawn the specific critical engagement. Players will have 1 minute after an engagement has been initiated to request deployment. That's when the actual queuing system takes place. And then you can prepare for the battle briefly before fighting the thing. Is that a giant mandragora? What are you doing? What are you doing over there? Should the maximum number of combatants not be reached, the resistance will call for reinforcements, at which point players may again request deployment. So if you have less than 24 or 48 people, it basically reopens the queue to anyone who wants to come in, even just a little bit later. When the preparation phase ends, the players must take up arms and do battle with Imperial forces. So you'll just have a brief time to quickly talk before you actually fight, is all they're saying. Similar to the way you would in any sort of normal encounter. Although now it's an actual phase of the battle, as opposed to it being like, pull at your own leisure. You got to go after a certain point. Possible to gain priority deployment. Players who contribute to the initial contribution will gain priority. And also, you can exchange Botching Clusters by speaking to the Resistance Quartermaster at Utya's Aegis. Should be noted that those combatants' priority deployment are more likely to be chosen. Yeah, obviously you have priority deployment, so anyone with priority deployment across both of them, obviously. But when registering as a party, all party members must have the same type of priority to be recognized. Otherwise, it's going to give you a little bit of trouble. Number of players requesting deployment exceeds, they will be selected by lottery. Botching Clusters will be gained just from defeating enemies on the southern front. So you'll actually want to be killing normal enemies fairly consistently. So you can see how many clusters they have, and those will be used to various goods and services. I believe lost actions being among the things that you can earn from those. There's also going to be locked boxes, which you'll be able to, have a dude open up, and there's going to be mad loot in there. Probably minions, mounts, as well as things like materia, and who knows, maybe even some other stuff along the way. Lost actions are here. These are similar to the Logos actions of Eureka, and they're just basically bonus actions that'll give you access to things you may not otherwise have had access to in your job, or things that help you do your job additionally. You'll get these at Resistance Rank 2, and you'll be continuing to progress after you obtain those. Forgotten Fragments and Lost Find Cache. During the expeditions, players will obtain an item known as Forgotten Fragments. These can be examined by a Resistance Appraiser, transforming them into lost actions. Okay, so the clusters are different from the Forgotten Fragments. Got it. While unidentified fragments can be placed in your inventory, those transformed into lost actions are stored in the Lost Finds cache, which can hold up to 200 copies of lost actions. Okay, so it is still separate from the actual cluster. To use lost actions in battle, they must first be moved from the cache to your holster. You can see there's a whole bunch of different ones here, and this will actually keep track of everything that you found, whether it be an item related to a lockbox, buffs, debuffs, tactical effects, all sorts of stuff, as you can see right here. The Lost Finds holster has a limited capacity. While this limit can be increased with a higher resistance rank, you must carefully choose which actions to take into battle. Up to 10 combinations of your favorite lost actions can be saved as sets, as it shows at the bottom right of the user interface. Once a set has been loaded, your selection of actions can be confirmed in the Lost Finds holster window. I assume a resistance potion is... Okay, so it looks like these item-related ones. Just going back, you can see Lost Incense and Lost Cure. Whatever, that looks like Provoke and Cure. These, however, resistance potions, Essence of the Ether Weaver, Essence of the Veteran. So I'd assume that these at the bottom are the items that actually make up these individual things that become the actions themselves. So that's a lot of what's being tracked down here, it looks like. Once the set has been loaded, your selected actions can be confirmed in the holster window, and then using lost actions will go on your duty action list. Looks like you'll have 2 duty actions available to you, and you'll just have to assign them. Duty action 1, duty action 2. Using as items, lost actions categorized as items can be used directly from the Lost Finds holster to activate their effects. Okay, so it looks even different. These potions look to be effects that you can get. So like Essence of the Ether Weaver. Ether Weaver in Eureka allowed you to do a lot more damage as a healer, for example. So it massively increased the amount of damage output that you had. And so I'd assume that using the potion would grant you a similar effect. Now, they might have changed some of the effects from Eureka, but it looks like you'll have a bit of flexibility between collecting items to gain as many additional effects as is feasible, I suppose, plus the 2 actions that you actually have available to you. So you're not just limited to the 2 actions that you set. You have a bunch of consumables that'll give you access to even more things for you to use. Field records. As you progress through the quest, a field record will be added to your collection. Completion of certain quests, skirmishes, and critical engagements will earn you sheaves of notes. These notes can then be used to add entries to the field record. Sounds like a lore book for our experiences there. You should find sheaves of note already added to your field record. They can be traded to the Resistance Historian, and then if you get dupes, you can buy stuff for various stuff. Okay. And then this is the actual weapon quest. Resistance weapons can be enhanced further by completing this quest. Items can be found both in and out of the Botching Southern Front. We don't know much about the out of the Botching Southern Front, but I hope you had some tomestones handy because you're probably going to need them. Class job-specific quests. Resistance weapon quests employ a system which will require players to proceed using the same class or job with which they accepted the quest. Okay, so if you're ever actually doing the advancement quest, make sure you're on the correct job as well. It'll probably give us a notification in-game. Some PvP actions were adjusted. I'm not a specialist in this. It looks like Inner Chaos and Chaotic Cyclone now heal for 100% of the damage they deal. Warrior looking good. Dragoon had a slight nerf to its Mirage Dive. Samurai had a slight buff to its Soten action. Machinist got a slight buff to Gauss Round, which kind of surprises me. And White Mage got buffs all around. It looks like, well, it got buffs to its direct healing, and then it lost some potency in its regen, is what it looks like here. And then Tetra has now 2 charges, and Temperance was buffed altogether by 5%. Scholar, looks like actually Scholar was hit with a little bit of a nerf on Biolysis. It got an extra XCOG stack, and Dissipation was buffed, similar to the way Temperance was buffed. Season 17 for the Feast is going to be beginning, for those of you who like to compete, and then new items, new recipes, the Skysteel Tool quests, all this stuff. Not much to say about this section. Skysteel Tools I don't have much experience with, but it's just going to be a continuation of the quests you are already starting on. New nodes, new items and gathering points, new fish, new mounts. Although we can assume that most of these will probably come from the Southern Front itself, especially that little minion right there. And then on top of that, new achievements, new titles, the field operations category. Lakeland will no longer be separate instances. Bye-bye longer hunt trains. I am sorry that you are now gone. A community finder button has been added to the official site, accessed via the system menu. I forgot that I thought that was in 5.4. I guess that's in 5.35 instead. Slash guard, which is the emote they showed us earlier. New music has been added. A bunch of resolved issues that we don't go over all too often, and then a bunch of known issues where I see the word Botching Southern Front quite a few times. So if we have a few bugs in there, I won't be too surprised, I guess, looking at all this. Are unable to... So, okay, this is actually an important one. Don't enter Botching Southern Front while set to busy, because you may be unable to accept party invitations once inside. So, yeah, be careful. That's the one that I'd say is probably the most important one to keep an eye out for. But anyway, that's going to be a wrap for our patch 5.35 patch note reading. At this point, I get to go sip on some coffee, play a little Genshin Impact, and wait for the servers to come up. So those of you on YouTube, thank you for watching this video. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share. Those of you on Twitch, let me go back to actually being a Twitch streamer after the last 15 to 20 minutes. Anyway, thanks, and I'll see you all next time. Until then.